Hello there and welcome to News Now on TV360 Nigeria. President Muhammadu Buhari has met with all security chiefs in the country ahead of the coming governorship and State House of Assembly elections. The meeting, which took place at the presidential villa in Abuja, was held behind closed doors. Briefing journalists after the meeting, the acting Inspector General of Police, Muhammad Adamu, assured Nigerians of adequate security during and after the elections.
Torture again is not allowed. Ballot snatching is not allowed. Disruption of the process of the election is not allowed. We have resolved, the security personnel have resolved to deal ruthlessly with anybody that attempts to disrupt the process of this election. For that reason, we expect in every state the conduct of the election to be respected. We expect that electoral materials must not be tampered with. We expect that the INEC officials will do their work without fear or favor and without being allowed to be compromised.
Well, ahead of that election, the People's Democratic Party have filed an application before the Presidential Election Petitions Tribunal asking the courts to compel INEC to allow it to inspect materials used for the presidential election. Through the application, they are seeking the tribunal's order to grant them permission to inspect the voters' register, the smart card readers, ballot papers, and other documents used for the conduct of the polls. Inspection of election materials usually precedes the filing of an election petition. Joined as defendants in the suit are President Muhammadu Buhari, the All Progressives Congress, and the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The opposition party is challenging the result of the February 16 presidential and National Assembly elections, which had lost to incumbent President Buhari of the APC. Meanwhile, the People's Democratic Party has staged a protest at the national headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Abuja, led by their national chairman, Uche Secondus. Members of the party in their numbers are marched from its headquarters in Wadata Plaza to the INEC office. Tunji Oye now tells us more.
It is the first protest by the People's Democratic Party in Abuja, and the protest started off from the Legacy House in Maitama down to the INEC office. And the protest itself was led by the national chairman of the PDP, Chief Uche Secondus. And here I have one of the protesters who will be telling us the reason for this protest.
We want to claim our mandate back. It's so obvious that they raped our democracy. There's no more democracy in Nigeria. This is not democracy. We want to fight our democracy.
The protesters say they are at the INEC headquarters for one reason: militarization of Nigeria's political process.
On this protest, we have come to register our protest to INEC of our displeasure on the conduct of 2019, February 23rd, after the postponement from the 16th, that the entire country was shocked. And the shock we've not recovered of the amount of the military that was involved in the conduct of that exercise. It has never happened in our country before. It is the first time it's happening. This is a purely civilian exercise. Then INEC involved the military as if there was war. And I can tell you what happened in Bayelsa and in Rivers State. At Bayelsa, the photographer of the personal photographer of the governor was shot by the military, and is dead. In the Rivers State, a whole local government was sacked. So also in Akwa Ibom, across the nation, where the security agencies suppress and oppress the people, and they got what they want. Is that what is going to happen on the 9th? That you will militarize the entire exercise and it's recorded, waiting for another election? We don't need to campaign. All we need is the military.
The PDP says INEC is presiding over one of the most questionable elections in Nigeria's history.
Just in my polling unit alone, when INEC will be coming with excess ballot papers hidden away from observers, we discovered it and insisted that we will take the serial numbers of the excess ballot papers before the voting could commence. Could you believe that they refused us taking the serial numbers? But when we forced them, we found out that they brought in 15,000 extra ballot papers. While at that polling unit, we have 3,000 plus registered voters, not accredited, registered voters. So what would have prompted INEC to come with excess 15,000 ballot papers?
Everybody knows what happened. I can give you an example. Let's take example of Borno. How can you imagine the vote in Borno is greater than the vote from Akwa Ibom State, where people they have insecurities and a lot of them are not there? How can that be? And we have videos, evidence, and we have some pictures that we have evidence that this election, they just ring the election.
Their protest letter was received by INEC with a promise to address their complaints.
INEC, we are here to do a professional job, but don't forget that INEC does not work alone. We work with other agencies. And I appreciate the fact that you said that even our staff too were molested during this election. But first and foremost, INEC has received your complaints. We're going to look at it critically. Where we have to change, we will change. But where it belongs to others, we will come together and work together.
The opposition party says it will continue to press for a credible election. From Abuja, Sunjioye, TV360 News.
Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress has denied writing to international bodies to stop Atiku Abubakar from challenging the results of the presidential elections. In a statement by the spokesperson of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, Festus Keyamo, the ruling party argued that Atiku and the PDP has a constitutional right to seek redress in court, and it will in no way curtail that right. The statement is in a reaction to a letter written by the Buhari campaign organization urging some international organizations to persuade the opposition from approaching the court. Festus, in his statement, held that the said group did not act on the request of the APC Presidential Campaign Council, nor does it represent the Muhammadu Buhari campaign organization in any way. The APC adds that it's very anxious to meet Atiku in court and show the world that the presidential election was conducted in a free and fair manner. Meanwhile, the All Progressives Congress has confirmed the suspension of Governor Ibikunle Amosun of Ogun State and his Imo State counterpart, Rochas Okorocha. Both governors and two others, the Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Usani, and the Director General of Voice of Nigeria, Osita Okechukwu, were last week suspended for anti-party activities. The NWC at the meeting also resolved to recommend their expulsion to the National Executive Committee of the party. However, the suspended members had variously questioned the credibility of their suspension, claiming that they have not been officially informed by the party. But speaking to State House correspondents in Abuja, the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Lanre Issa Onilu, said writing those suspended was not a precondition for their suspension. He adds that whether the party writes to them or not, they remain suspended. After days in detention, the chieftain of the PDP, Tanimu Turaki, has been released by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission. Babalele Abdullahi, who is the son-in-law to the PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar, has also regained his freedom. Turaki, a former minister and the present Deputy Director General of the PDP campaign organization, was said to have been arrested on Monday. Paul Abdullahi, who is the finance director of Atiku's group of companies, was arrested on Saturday. Both men were arrested on allegation of fraud brought against them by the Anti-Graft Agency. The trial of a former National Security Advisor, Sambo Dasuki, has been adjourned till April 11th. Dasuki is standing trial for unlawful possession of firearms at the Federal High Court in Abuja. His trial was adjourned as a result of the absence of the prosecuting counsel, who informed the court through a letter that he was indisposed. The defendant, who was absent, had earlier informed the court that he would no longer attend proceedings until his right to bail was enforced. In February, the court refused to grant the prayers of Dasuki, seeking the intervention of friends of the court, amicus curiae, in his trial. An amicus curiae is a person who may have not been hired by a party in the case, but is considered impartial to offer advice or information in the case. Meanwhile, the Federal High Court in Abuja has granted lawmaker representing Kogi West Sanitary District, Dino Melaye, bail in the sum of 5 million naira after pleading not guilty to charges of alleged suicide. The senator has been arraigned by the police on 6 charges for attempting to escape from custody and damage to police property. After taking his plea on Tuesday, Melaye's counsel asked the court to admit him to bail on terms earlier decided by the court when he was brought in last year. Ruling on the case, Justice Silvanus Orji said he was aware the court had granted bail to the defendant when it was arraigned on July 25, 2018. The judge also agreed that the bail conditions included the sum of 5 million naira and 2 sureties in like sum. The trial has also been adjourned to April 5, 2019 for hearing. The Nigeria Immigration Service, NIS, has postponed the rollout of the new 10-year enhanced e-passport to April 29, 2019. This was announced by the spokesperson of the NIS, Sunday James, who explained that the decision was to enable the service to finalize the integration of the National Identity Number, NIN, with the new passport. The NIS passport reforms involve the introduction of different categories of passport with various approved fees. According to the NIS, the new passport with 32 pages will cost 25,000 naira, while the 64 pages with 5-year expiration time will cost 35,000 naira, and the 64 pages with 10-year validity will cost 70,000 naira. The Nigerian Air Force NAF has rescheduled the dates for the recruitment exercise into the service. In a series of tweets, the force announced that the exercise would now take place between March 16 and 30th, 2019. It's further noted that the recruitment is free and candidates do not need to pay any individual before getting enlisted into the service. The force has now issued a warning to applicants, advising them to shun anyone who demands money from them as a guarantee for recruitment. Barely 30 days after the conclusion of the West African Senior School Certificate Examination for Private Candidates 2019 First Series, the West African Examination Council, WAEC, has now announced the release of the result. At a press briefing in Lagos, the head of the Nigerian National Office, Oli Adenipekun, says a total of 3,102 candidates out of 11,892 that sat for the examination obtained credit and above in a minimum of 5 subjects, including English language and general mathematics. TV360's Abisola Adebayo has the rest of the story.
In December 2017, the West African Examination Council announced that the West African Senior School Certificate Examination for private candidates would be conducted in 2 series as from 2018. The first series is to be conducted between January and February, while the second series between August and October of every year. The 2019 first series marks the second time private candidates will be writing, and the council is giving a reflection of this.
You will recall that the first edition of the new diet of the West African Senior School Certificate Examination was for private candidates. First series was successfully conducted in January/February 2018. A total of 11,721 candidates sat for the first diet in 2018, while for the 2019 diet, 12,202 candidates registered for the examinations. The conduct of the West African Senior School Certificate Examinations was for private candidate 2019 4 series ended on Monday, February 4, 2019.
The WIAC chief officer then goes on to give analysis of the result.
The analysis of the statistics of candidates' performance in the examination shows that 1. 8,782 candidates representing 75.15% obtained credit and above in any 2 subjects. 7,332 candidates representing 62.74% obtained credit and above in any 3 subjects. 5,850 candidates representing 50.06% obtained credit and above in any 4 subjects, while 4,314 candidates representing 36.28% obtained 5 credit and above in any 5 subjects. A total of 3,102 candidates representing 26.08% obtained credit and above in a minimum of 5 subjects, including English language and general mathematics.
Adenipekun also gives reasons why some candidates may not be able to assess their results.
The result of 376 candidates representing 3.16% of the total candidature for the examination are being withheld in connection with various reported cases of examination malpractice. The cases are being investigated, and reports of the investigations will be presented to the appropriate committee of council in due course for consideration and final decision on such cases. The committee's decision will also be communicated to the affected candidates without delay.
Although there is an improvement in candidates' performance in 2019 compared to the previous year, analysts believe there is still much work to be done in the country's educational sector if it wants to meet the Goal 4 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, focused on ensuring quality education. Abisola Adebayo, TV360 Nigeria.
The Chinese New Year is China's most important festival and holiday time, and this year it falls on February 5th. As it is in many countries across the world, during festivities, families and friends gather to make merry and eat dinner in their homes. But how do some Chinese in Lagos relish the memories of such an important festival while away from home? Our correspondent has been finding out.
Although their feet may have left their home country, for these Chinese, home isn't a place. It is the feeling of good laughter as well as happiness experienced with friends and family over a table of beautiful food and good wine. She is responsible for the broad smiles on the faces of these people. She's hosting this small get-together at a restaurant as a form of reunion in Lagos with her friends and family who could not make it back to China for the New Year celebration.
You know, because we are in Nigeria, it's outside the country. So all our Chinese friends and family is with same family because we are Chinese. So when people join together party, so we're feeling a very happiness because this is outside the country, not our country. So everybody be happy together. Look like sister, brother, and family.
Tom Lee has brought his entire family to the restaurant. Having lived in Nigeria for 11 years as the boss of a furniture company, it is not strange that they are celebrating the New Year outside of China.
You know, in China, for the festival, like the Chinese New Year, the things we do to visit friends, visit relatives, and enjoy food. You know, in China New Year, we have like almost 2 weeks holiday. But in Nigeria, because of the business, we can't take along the holiday like that. But we can enjoy with our friends, and we can enjoy with the family. We can enjoy the Chinese restaurant, the good food.
As they felicitate with their fellow Chinese across the world, others say they are delighted by the reception and happy to be celebrating in Nigeria.
Chinese always like to be happy. Even they are not happy, they try to learn to be how to happy to affect other people in this kind of special holiday. A lot of Nigerian families, my Chinese family, my Nigerian families, celebrating it. My business are going better and better. And I'm a high chief of Nigeria. So 50% of my body belong to this country.
I feel Nigeria is my home, because no difference. I spend time in China and or in Nigeria. Because first one, there's so many Chinese stay here. Two is so many friends, which included Nigerian and Chinese, Lebanese, Indians. So I feel no difference for me to stay in China or stay in Nigeria. When they mention New Year, we will say 恭喜发财. Put up left hand up, cover the right hand, means 恭喜发财, means wish you have some money soon.
2019, which started from February 5 and lasting till January 24, 2020, in the Chinese calendar is a year of Earth Pig. The next New Year or Spring Festival, as it is also called, is on Saturday, 25th January 2020. Adekunle, TV360 Nigeria.
You're still watching news now on TV360 Nigeria. We'll be right back after this break. Do stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
What's your name?
Also there, Morifi. May you check your own list, cause the list where they outside. Also Daniel name never do.
Your name is Honoriode. You even went as a fashion designer.
As you don't come back, so now I won't go as Akpobori Ovi, and Ovi won't go as pilots.
That is impersonation.
My own share for the national cake be that.
Mr. Onosode.
Akpobori.
The Amnesty Program is an intervention project for sustainable economic development of the Niger Delta, which you are a beneficiary of, lying under pretext for your selfish gain and advantage is robbing others of the same opportunity. And that is an act of corruption, not in my country.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, has dismissed claims that he has been asked to proceed on terminal leave. Emefiele is speaking to journalists during a meeting with textile industry stakeholders in Abuja, saying there's no truth in such claims that he had proceeded on terminal leave. The governor said that his tenure expires in June and that he would continue to perform his role in the interest of the economy. He has been the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria since June 3, 2014, and his appointment is for a period of 5 years, which is renewable if the president so wish. The Central Bank of Nigeria has restricted the sale of foreign exchange to importers of textiles and other clothing materials in Nigeria. The CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, said this in Abuja during a meeting with stakeholders in the cotton value chain. He says the restriction, which it takes immediate effect, was to encourage the growth of the textile and cotton industry. Oil prices fell on Tuesday as China cut its 2019 economic growth target, deeming the outlook for fuel demand, although OPEC-led efforts to cut output still offered some support. U.S. West crude oil futures were at $56.31 per barrel, and that's down 28 cents, while Brent crude futures were at $65.37 per barrel, down 30 cents. Oil demand growth has been flagging along with an economic slowdown, especially in Europe and Asia. Meanwhile, optimism that the United States and China will soon end their bitter trade dispute has offered some support. After this break, we'll return to bring you up to speed with the latest on the international and sports scene. Do stay with us.
Corruption not in my country.
Dalali, my business has been going down. I need your help. Bawahala. I will show you the formula. I use some bad chemical which I mix, so produce the drugs which gives me up to 4 times profit. Imagine, pa. So you are one of the people that is killing millions and millions of Nigerians in this country. Dalabi, was it not you last 2 months that was complaining about fuel scarcity in this country, that the government is corrupt? Have I killed anybody in your family?
You don't have to kill any of my family members directly. Every Nigerian you kill is my family. Selling of fake drugs, expired drugs, putting drugs in wrong packets, all that are acts of corruption. This is corruption, not in my country. CIA.
Me? Fake drug? Now corruption? Allah kia.
Corruption not in my country.
Stop corruption now.
United States President Donald Trump has extended sanctions against Zimbabwe by a year, saying that the new government policies continue to pose an unusual and extraordinary threat to the American foreign policy. The renewal comes despite calls by African leaders, including South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa, for the sanctions to be lifted to give the country a chance to recover from its economic crisis. Trump administration officials have said the sanctions will remain until the government of President Emmerson Mnangagwa changes Zimbabwe's laws restricting media freedom and allowing protest. According to U.S. officials, there are 141 entities and individuals in Zimbabwe currently under U.S. sanctions, including Mnangagwa and former President Robert Mugabe. In sports, Premier League club Chelsea have appealed the transfer ban imposed on them by the World Football Governing Body, FIFA. FIFA confirmed on Tuesday that it has received Chelsea's appeal, although no decision has been taken on freezing the sanction during the legal process. The club has been banned from registering new players for 2 transfer windows for breaching rules to protect teenage players. The London-based club were also fined 600,000 Swiss francs, and the Football Association was fined 510,000 Swiss francs. The Germany head coach Joachim Löw has confirmed that Bayern Munich trio Mats Hummels, Jerome Boateng and Thomas Müller will no longer be considered for international selection. The three starred as Germany won the World Cup for the first time since 1990 in Brazil in 2014. But Löw has confirmed that, in spite of their service, the Bayern Munich trio would not be considered for selection, with their international careers now appearing to be over. Following their World Cup success, Germany's crop of 2014 has struggled to recreate that form on the biggest stage. They were beaten by host France in the semi-final of Euro 2016 before being stung with a group stage elimination at the World Cup in Russia, losing to Mexico and South Korea to finish bottom of their group. And that's it right now on News Now on TV360 Nigeria. Thanks for watching. I'm Annetta Felix. Bye for now.